Hello and welcome to the October edition of the Going Long podcast. Coming up this month,
we look back on some of our favourite action from the season so far. We take another trip to the Fanzone and have our first Fanzone quiz. Stuart gives us a roundup of all the divisions and the standings and gives us an early playoff prediction. We look at players in the headlines and we still don't quite know why. We've decided to link the NFL to TV shows.
But first we're going to start with the game in the UK. It's been the first games at Wembley in London, packed crowds at the stadium, packed crowds in Regent Street, and lots of talk about how popular the game is getting here in the UK amongst the fans. But how much do the Joe public really know about NFL? We sent Stuart out to find out.
Hey, so we're out in Leicester today to find out what the general public know about NFL. It's becoming a lot more popular over here, so let's see what they know. Do you know what the NFL is?
It's something to do with mixed martial arts.
No.
The NFL?
Yeah.
National Football League?
Yes.
Football in America.
Yeah, do you know what the letters stand for?
National Football League.
The National Fairies League?
Oh, it's close. Yeah, National Football League.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the American football.
Yes.
Yes.
It is the National Football League.
Yes, correct.
The National Football League.
Yes, spot on.
I know. Yeah, it's American football.
Yes. Do you know what NFL stands for?
National Football League.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Yeah.
So the NFL recently had its first game of the season outside of America.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where that game was played?
I'm guessing it was Wembley Stadium.
No, they play at Wembley.
Okay.
I don't. I'd guess in London, maybe Wembley. But
Yeah, Wembley. That's right. Yeah. At the end of October, there are two more games in Britain. One is being played at Wembley. Do you know where the other one is going to be?
I'm taking a guess. It's going to be somewhere local to us. So too much of a push. It would. I'd say Walker Stadium. I'm guessing it may be somewhere a bit further out. Wishful thinking makes me think it'll be Walker Stadium here in Leicester, or Tiger Stadium, whatever it's called now. Part of me thinks maybe it's more likely to be in Birmingham.
So it's still in London.
Oh, bugger. Okay, so nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. Okay.
Do you know who's the Super Bowl champion at the minute? The current team?
No.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
No. Do you know? Can you name any NFL teams?
Pretty much the only one I know, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah. Who are the current Super Bowl champions?
There we go.
But yeah.
Patriots, obviously, and Raiders is a pirate one.
Yeah.
And Buffalo have a team.
Yeah.
And there's is it Washington Redskins? Or something like that?
Yeah.
Some kind of Patriots.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys.
Callous Cowboys. That's a team.
Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks. They're a hockey team.
Damn.
The Seattle Mohawks.
Green Bay?
Yeah. Green Bay Packers. That's a team.
Steelers?
Yeah. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah.
Baltimore. What is it? Ravens.
Yes. That's really good.
Yeah, well, I know that for Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, nice.
The Yankees.
Okay, let's play this game then. So I'm going to name a few teams, one of which in each group is going to be real.
Okay.
And you have to tell me which one is real. So we have the Buffalo Bills, the Sacramento Tigers, or the Memphis Mavericks.
And the Sacramento Tigers sounds too mundane to be fake. So
So it's actually the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
So the Florida Pirates, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the Orlando Orcas.
Tampa Bay.
Buccaneers.
Yes.
Those ones?
Yes.
Yeah. What about Salt Lake Silvers, Cleveland Browns, or the Boston Blues?
Probably say Salt Lake Silvers.
California Cougars, New York Jets, or Las Vegas Coyotes?
Las Vegas Coyotes.
No, that does sound like a really good team though. So we have the Buffalo Bills, the Sacramento Tigers, or the Memphis Mavericks.
Tigers sound real. Buffalo Bill, that's the guy that used to cut people up and wear their skin.
Yeah. Last one, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tallahassee Hawks, or the Daytona Sharks.
Let's go. Do them again. Sorry.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tennessee Hawks, or the Daytona Sharks?
Sharks. Be wrong.
It's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right.
Again, complete guess. No idea.
Any other random facts that you just happen to know about American football?
I vaguely am aware that it involves a defense and an offense, and when you're attacking, you get like 4 goes to move 10 yards, and that's about it.
Yeah. So that's it from us here in Leicester. I think we found out that they know a little bit here and there, maybe from overhearing it in conversations, or their friends are kind of into it. I think if we'd have asked them a few years ago, they might not have known anything. So I'm pretty happy with it.
We actually have some breaking news for you. Let's have some music and banner stuff coming up. That I find quite exciting, we've been waiting for. Charles, I'm going to let you reveal what our breaking news is.
Okay, the breaking news, which I learned through the super high-tech medium of my dad texting me about it about 5 minutes before we started recording, is that Blaine Gabbert has been benched. Colin Kaepernick will be starting in Week 6 for the 49ers against the Bills.
See, I'm quite nervous as a Bills fan because this has been building of Blaine garbage. It's been shocking for weeks, and we've heard people saying he surely they've got to change it. And some really a good shout out to False Start podcast, really cool American podcast. The guys there do a great job, and I was listening to them earlier, funny enough, and one of the hosts was talking about the main interest is saying, how's Kaepernick going to get his helmet on?
Yeah.
Because that throw is amazing.
That is,
and I worry about the
quite.
throw.
It's quite a piece of work. It's almost like he knew he wasn't playing, and it's just like, yeah, I'm just going to go for it, you know.
But they were talking about as well of there was rumours a little bit about him going to Denver, which never seemed that likely. Obviously, the Browns are in desperate need of any quarterback that's fit and not going to break their arm. It seems the Browns have a breaking arm issue. But what do you think of it? Do you think Kaepernick is going to? Because there is a bit of a circus around him, so is it going to maybe help on the football, or are they going to get distracted, do you think?
I honestly don't know, and it's going to be fascinating to find out. And I know you say you're nervous as a Bills fan, but I don't know. I'd be kind of excited because it could just go horribly, horribly wrong. That said, you know, I like Kaepernick, and I feel like no discussion of Cap at the moment is complete without me noting that I absolutely fully support his political stance in this particular on this particular issue, not least because he's annoying all of the right people.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's taken away from his football a little bit, where people have used that. So I think on just a pure sporting level, it's been really nice for someone that's been making headlines and getting criticism and a lot of support, which has been good to see, actually be able to just do what he's paid to do.
Yeah. I remember a similar thing a few seasons ago, actually, with Marshawn Lynch when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Some celebrations that he threw out there got him referred to as sort of like rude or uncouth or a thug or things like that. And yet Tom Brady gets away with screaming in referees' faces all the time. And hey, I wonder why that could be. I wonder what's the key difference that has a big cultural standing in America between those two guys. It's really difficult.
And it is.
But yeah, you see the same thing with Kaepernick now. It's like, oh, this black guy has an opinion.
And this could be one of those nice instances, though, where sport can do some good, where usually it's a refuge for people to get away from everyday stuff. Obviously, the overlap into real life is unavoidable when you have these players making a stand. But it could be one of those where hopefully some good comes of it. He's back on the field playing. Yeah. People see him as a human being rather than just an issue and focus. Yeah. So for the game, although obviously I want him to suck majorly
of course.
And be accepted, I kind of want him to do well for his sake.
It would be massively gratifying for him to come out of all of this and just smash it and just shut everybody up.
Because you do know if he doesn't play well, they've got a massive stick to hit him with immediately for why.
Exactly.
But it did kind of neatly help us with this news breaking of them having Cap sitting there on the bench ready to come in. It's kind of a big name, but also it's made it slightly difficult for them. It's loomed over everything for Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
But this idea of NFL, of so many coaches talk about next man up, who's there. And normally, I remember last season, it got to about week 6, 7, and the injuries started kicking in. We've had so many already this season, pre-season. Obviously, we've talked before about the Vikings and how they've coped with a QB and a running back. And it's kind of worked out. And I'm just wondering, before we look at some of the other teams, is there a difference in the pressure that maybe because everyone wasn't looking at the Vikings situation, them doing brilliantly? Sean Hill came in for a game, then Bradford. For most people, they weren't thinking, oh, they're going to set the world alight. Has that maybe helped a little bit for that next man up there?
Perhaps, yeah. Bradford came in with as much people saying it was a bad trade as people saying it was a good trade. He's not, he's had a patchy record here and there, particularly with injuries as well. And obviously, when you bring in somebody as injury cover, the last thing you want is for them to go down as well. Although Sean Hill did very well in week 1, to his absolute credit, and Bradford's given him, like I've said before, Bradford's given him a lot of credit for helping him learn the offense so fast. But yeah, Bradford's just linked up with everybody really nicely, and I think maybe lower expectation has helped with that. Like you lose Teddy, and then you lose Adrian Peterson as well. People are expecting the Viking season to fall apart.
But there's an interesting one as well. Another kind of breaking news: Jake Long signed.
Yes,
you told me so.
Yep.
And the Vikings seem to have done this. It's a gamble. They seem to have looked at these players and gone, you know what, we want someone that's a bit more NFL ready, that's at a standard we think, rather than next man up. It's kind of a different approach they've had. We see some other teams that have gone, oh, quick, let's go to our practice squad. Who have we got on the roster? Yeah,
totally. I mean, it's horses for courses, isn't it? It's what you need. The offensive line for us, where Long plays, has been a long-standing issue. Obviously, you would think with a quarterback going down, maybe the offensive line was to blame, but it was in practice and it was non-contact. Although I wouldn't be surprised if our offensive line had been so bad that it got a quarterback injured in practice. That certainly would have been very plausible, certainly a couple of years ago. But we've been talking about beefing up for a while, and we've brought in Tony Sperano. Not Soprano, as you said when I messaged you about it.
I got so excited about it. I'm like, you have Tony Soprano? Like,
yeah. No, I did the same thing when I read it as well. Everybody does. But yeah, we brought in Sperano, who's a specialist offensive line coach, and was the offensive line coach at Miami when they drafted Long number 1 in 2008, the first offensive tackle to ever be drafted number 1, I believe.
Wow.
And like the third highest paid ever at the time, and he was a big part of turning their offensive line around. So it's interesting to see that relationship come back together. But I think it's just evidence of it's whatever piece fits the puzzle. Some people are going to bring guys in if they know them and have a relationship with them. Some guys are going to bring in somebody new if they feel they need to completely change the culture, and some guys are going to pick up good performance off the practice squad. It's just the way it goes. There's 32 teams. There's always going to be different approaches.
It's an interesting one to watch, I think, for fans, because often you'll hear a name from your own squad and go, who he? And this time of season, it is worth looking through the depth of your roster and seeing who's available, who's there, because it's going to have a big impact of already watching some of these teams. I mean, seeing the Panthers against the Bucs had 6 starters out, that just from their defence, and then had about 2-3 from their offence out, and got a win. I think that's now really interesting already this time of the season. The Bills have turned around their season with people coming through maybe weren't expecting to start. Sure. Obviously, Patriots I really don't want to talk about because Stuart's not here, so I don't have to. And the last one I was just going to ask you about was seeing the pressure we've talked about on certain QBs of the approach. So the Rams got a lot of stick for not starting Goff. I think most people expected. When the draft happened, you get really excited about these players. They had all the publicity of going to LA. Jared Goff. He was front and centre for Hard Knocks, certainly, on their promotion of that. And then we've had Paxton Lynch was also talked about. Dak Prescott, not so much. There's been this slight role reversal of Carson Wentz at one point was not going to play, to be redshirted the season's come in. Obviously had a great start. That trade's worked out brilliantly. Yeah. Paxton Lynch, though, on the other side, when we hear about this NFL ready, suddenly looked like the game was really too fast for him. You think, okay, let's protect that guy. I find that quite interesting of how quick we are to condemn a player. I'm going, you know what, they're quite young, they need time. And why I'm asking was I found it really interesting to find out that Terry Bridgewater is younger than Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott.
It's one of those weird things with college eligibility, like they can waive years of eligibility if they feel they're ready to be drafted. And I think that's that obviously leads to sort of discrepancy in age. But I didn't actually know that until you just said that, so that's very interesting. Lower expectations seem to be fostering higher performances, and that seems to have been true. It's sort of been a thing that's bubbling under for a while now. You see with Johnny Manziel, who had very high expectations, and, well, we know how that's worked out, don't we?
Hi, so I'm going to do a quick divisional roundup, starting with the AFC and then the NFC. First up, we have the AFC East, with the Patriots on top with a 4-1 record. Brady's back, he's looking pretty good. The stats for that first game were phenomenal. surely the Patriots are going to top that division. The Bills are not looking too bad either with a 3-2 record. However, 2 of those 3 were against the Cardinals and the Patriots. But should they be a little bit disappointed that they didn't get the W's against the Ravens and their divisional rivals, the Jets? That's what I'm asking. Now, on to the Jets and also the Dolphins, both on 1 and 4. Not looking great for either of these two teams. Dolphins W came against the Browns. I don't think either of these two are making it to the playoffs. Next up, we have the AFC West. The AFC West is all about the Raiders and the Broncos. Both teams are on 4-1. I reckon a lot of people would have probably guessed that the Broncos would be sitting about that this time of the season. But who would have guessed that about the Raiders? Me. I did. I said that. Then we have the Chiefs and the Chargers. Chiefs need to get more consistency if they want to challenge for the division. It's not just running too smoothly for them at the minute, but they had a bye week, so maybe that's going to help them out. And the Chargers, well, they can start prepping for the draft. The AFC North. 2 things about this division were predictable beforehand. The Steelers would be on top, and the Browns would be on the bottom. Yep, that's what happened. The Steelers are 4-1. Their loss was to the dominant Eagles team, and if anything, I think what that will have done is open their eyes to what faults they have. I don't think we'll see them get beat like that again this season. Ravens and Bengals sitting in the middle, 3-2 and 2-3 respectively. If I'm honest, I don't see either of them doing anything this season. Steelers are going to take the division. Oh, almost forgot. Browns are 0-5. What's the Browns? The AFC South. This is probably a bit of a cliche. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a cliche. It's what everyone says, but it's true. This is probably the most open division in the AFC. I'm sorry, but it is living up to that. Texans on 3-2, Titans and Colts both on 2-3, and the Jags just behind on 1-3, having a bye this week. My money is on either the Texans or the Colts, so watch out for their game next week. I'm pretty sure that can have a lot of sway in this division. Now over to the NFC Conference. Starting with the NFC East. Cowboys are on 4-1, with a very impressive Eagles just behind on 3-1, but that's because they had a bye this week. I'm looking forward to watching these two fight it out over the division. Redskins probably pretty happy with a 3-2 start, but they'll need to take W's in their divisional matchup games to make a play for it. Then we have the Giants. Go home, Giants. You're drunk. You've spent too much money. You probably can't afford the cab fare home, but just walk. Just walk and start thinking about next year. Now we have the NFC West. Now this to me is the most average division in the league this year. It's boring. We have the Seahawks, average, the Rams, average, and the Cardinals, definitely average. They all have the ability to step up and take the division, but none of them seem to want to. 49ers, you can probably just take a knee and start thinking about next season as well. Then we have the NFC South. The Falcons are looking pretty dominant in this division with a 4-1 record, and that includes a smashing of the current champs, Broncos, this week. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to keep up this momentum and make it to the playoffs. Buccaneers, Panthers, and Saints only have 4 wins between the 3 of them. People would maybe have called poor starts for the Bucs and the Saints, but who had the Panthers down to have a 1-4 start? Huh? No, not me this time. I didn't call that one. So, over to the NFC North, with the Bears being the Bears with a 1-4 start. Lions, not much better with a 2-3, but they've got a lot to improve on, but I think they can maybe make a play for it. The Packers are 3-1, having already had a bye week. Not looking too bad, but not as clinical as you'd want them to be. And on top of the division, the only undefeated team in the league, the Vikings, 5-0. Yeah, you could say that other than the Packers, they've not had the hardest of games, but the thing that matters is the W record. 5-0 looks pretty good. They've got a bye week next week, then the Eagles, and then the Bears. I'd look for them to go 7-0 and carry that on. They're going to the playoffs. So, just as a quick roundup, here are my predictions for who's going to win. In the AFC, I'm going to say we're going to have the Patriots, the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Texans. And the 2 wild cards, I'm going for the Broncos, and Nathan, you'll be happy with this, I'm going for the Bills. So my winners on the NFC are the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Falcons, and the Vikings. And my 2 wild cards, I'm going to go with the Cowboys and the Cardinals. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, we did mention that we'll have some of the highlights that we teased you with, like the naughty, cheeky little scamps we are. So coming up now, here are our best moments from the season so far. This week we saw again how gutsy the Raiders are and Del Rio, and they're now sitting 4-1, and lots of people tipping them to do well. But their stats are quite interesting. They've given up the most yards in the league, and they are the 6th least effective defence in the whole league. So I wonder, with this win at the moment, how much goes back to week 1. And if anyone can remember, it was a last-minute victory. Del Rio called it. They could have gone for the extra point to tie it. Instead, they went for the extra 2 points instead. Carter Crabtree, they win the game with the Saints missing a last-minute field goal. If that hadn't gone for them, I wonder if they'd still be 4-1 now.
And obviously I'm going to show my incredible bias by picking both the team I support and the game I was at. We're going to go all the way back to week 1. Look at that incredible interception by Eric Kendricks, picking off Marcus Mariota and taking it home for 6.
Vikings, Eric Kendricks. He'll score.
An early contender for me of one of the highlights of the entire season was week 3. Carson Wentz has been looking great, and this was my favourite moves, him dancing out of the pocket, little jig, firing across to Sproles, whose run was also an absolute delight.
Here's 3rd and 8. Oh, he sidesteps one Steeler defender and finds Sproles. Sproles cuts back to the middle. No one will be, well, yes, hold on a minute. Sproles wiggles twice, and yes, he takes it home for the touchdown.
Okay, now we're going to take a look at week 4, Wembley Stadium. The Jags looked like they were bossing it, but in the 4th quarter, the Colts start to turn it around, come back into it with the touchdown, but then the Jags fire right back. They look like they've just wrestled it away.
To the near side, that is complete. Allen turn, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown!
But then Indianapolis come back again. An incredible 4th quarter there at Wembley, certainly perking up after the rest of the game. And like you said on the podcast, Nathan, I think it's if you took all the Colts' second half scores, they'd be, what, 4-1?
Yeah, they've got quite a remarkable record how the Colts have been doing. And I think actually Andrew looks like individual performance as well in the 4th quarter specifically. So yeah, if you're a Colts fan, you just basically skip the game until the 4th quarter. That's what you should do.
Yeah, it's a funny thing with Luck. Like, I don't know if you saw that thing about how he said he never reads anything about himself or about his performance or anything like that.
With his flip phone, he says he hasn't got social media.
Yeah, exactly. It was really interesting because, the thing is with like NFL news is often quite sort of jump around the league, bits and pieces from here and there. The thing that we're doing right now being the case in point. So like to avoid anything about himself, he would also have to avoid all of that. So he must just never watch any news about the league. And then he doesn't seem that downbeat about the fact that his team aren't doing that well. Which leads me to ask the question, does Andrew Luck know that the rest of the NFL happens? Or does he think it's just like an exhibition for the Colts every week and he just they put these teams together for him to play? Like, I'm not sure he knows.
Yeah, someone actually said to him, maybe showed him a league table. What's that?
Yeah, it's like I don't know what that is. Playoffs? I just thought like we'd get extra games.
Someone needs to find out. We need to get Andrew Luck on the phone. We need to speak to Andrew. Andrew, give us a ring. We'll blow your mind. Someone find Andrew, show him this, and we'll have a chat. He'll be amazed.
Or horribly offended. Ideally both.
Lots of talk about the Falcons, and rightly so, and their fearsome foursome of Ryan and Julio Jones, and obviously their 2 running backs have been doing great. However, their defence has been underrated. It was actually Rob Alford, the cornerback in the game against the Panthers, that sealed the win, intercepting Cam Newton and running it back in week 4.
For my sins, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. Well, when I was a kid, I visited Florida, went to Disneyland, went to SeaWorld, and while I was there, I got to actually pat a dolphin. And then when I came home and obviously saw NFL, I thought, hang on a second, there's an NFL team, they're in Florida, where I've been, and they're named the Dolphins. After that, I was hooked. It was like it was meant to be. It's the greatest quarterback of all time, Dan Marino. Yep, the greatest ever. I'm just throwing it out there. He's never been convicted of deflating balls or anything like that. Well, as I've only really got into NFL properly sort of in the last sort of 5-10 years or so, ironically, I don't have that many fond memories of the Dolphins as a fan, so it's probably going to have to be the one win we secured when we didn't go 0-16 in 2008. As I'm not from New England or related to Bill Belichick, I'm pretty sure I'm legally obliged to despise the New England Patriots, and the fact that they are the personification of evil in American football does make it really easy. So yeah, I'd say the New England Patriots. Yeah, and as I'm a glutton for punishment, I like to sort of follow the results of the San Francisco 49ers because, again, when I was in school, I visited California, visited San Francisco, thought it's a lovely city, and so I thought, well, I'll look out for their results. Bought a 49ers jersey, and there we go. Absolutely, I think the time is right for a UK-based franchise. I think the demand that's been surrounding the Wembley games, the Twickenham games, we're getting more and more games a year. They always sell well. I think now is the best time more than ever to sort of take that dive and move for a full-time franchise in the UK. 1972. True, and thanks to the Giants, still the only team. It was the Sun Life Stadium, but I think the name's changed, so I'm going to go true. I'm a Dolphins fan. I've got to hold on to whatever triumph I've got. That's true. Two. I'm going to go for the newest team, the Houston Texans. I think that's true. I think it's 8. I'd be a pretty poor fan if I didn't know this. It's number 13. I'd love his name to mean House of Spears, so I'm going to say that he doesn't have a clause which says that the naming has to be changed.
Right, I don't know if you heard on the podcast we talked about how the NFL have done this range of T-shirts with music.
Yeah.
People have matched up, and I got a bit carried away thinking of movies that might match with teams. So this seemed like a natural progression, as this is sort of our TV show. I know it's on YouTube, I don't care, it's our TV show, okay?
You can watch it on TV.
Exactly, you
Hook
can.
your laptop up.
Yeah.
Or if you've got like a Chromecast thing.
Yeah, or internet TV, sorted.
Yeah, whatever.
So I thought maybe we could look at teams in the NFL as a TV show.
Did you think we could do that?
I thought we could.
Or have you just done a lot of it?
I might have spent far more time than is reasonable for a grown man working out which NFL teams matched up to a TV show.
Go on then.
Thanks. Okay, I did talk on the podcast. The first one's quite obvious. They're struggling. They're looking a bit poor. They need some hope. Chicago Bears, Chicago hope. Keeping the medical vibe going though. There's a incident each week. There are people being injured and treated. As each season goes by, it gets increasingly more bleak and less laughs. The Cleveland Browns, you are ER. The NFL, I did say they were like Footloose, but now we've got to put them in the context of a TV show. So NFL officials, they don't want players to have a heart. They don't want players to enjoy life and be like normal human beings. They want players to be the Walking Dead. They get worse.
They get worse.
Yeah. Okay, we're looking at a TV show. It's about a big project. A lot of money is being spent. Is it not maybe going to work out? Have you maybe not thought that this is a longer term project than it really could be? Commentators getting worried about will it ever be finished or work or be done on time? New York Giants, you are Grand Designs. When 24 came out, it was exciting, it was different, it had cliffhangers, had lots of action, had a complex leading character. By the time the second season came around, the follow-up, kind of a bit tired and didn't really work. Carolina Panthers.
Wow.
This one, I apologise for being quite an obvious one. Big in the 80s, a lot of star power and celebrity pull towards it. There's been an attempt to reboot it recently, but it's not really worked. Miami Dolphins obviously are Miami Vice.
Perfect. So I was trying to think of some of these, but I just I couldn't think of any TV show where it gets better and better and better. Well, oh no, actually I just did. So you know how we're losing somebody every week these days, the Vikings. every game 1 or 2 people go down, and we've started referring to it as the sacrifices to the football gods. So people keep going down. Some of people's favourite players or favourite characters keep disappearing, but it keeps getting better and more intense and more dramatic. Minnesota Vikings are Game of Thrones.
I thought he was the man to lead us through the long night, but I was wrong.
Do you like games, little man?
In true TV box set style then, we're going to look at what is coming up next. We should do like a proper coming up next on the NFL.
We just did it.
There we go.
There you go. We'll wait to see how that picked up on the mic, but...
I'm going to pick some of these. Which one of these might be your favourite, or throw some at me. So coming up, obviously we've got more London action coming up at the end of October in Twickenham and Wembley. Week 6, Falcons against Seahawks. That could be very interesting.
Battle of the bird teams.
Also week 6, a playoff, I think maybe for the first draft pick between the Browns and the Titans.
Oh.
Sorry. Also week 7, I think the standout one, Patriots go to Pittsburgh. That could be really interesting.
Definitely. I think that's where we see whether Pittsburgh are convincing pretenders or genuine...
Or just pretenders.
Yeah.
Week 8 is kind of an interesting one. I think Patriots will want revenge. They go to Buffalo. They've obviously got Brady back. There was no way that Belichick, as much as he might say it didn't really matter, he's not going to let that one go. The same week as well, I feel a bit sad that this game could be utterly meaningless. The Cardinals against the Panthers. But last season, obviously, was a huge game. Now, this season, both 2 and 3 the Cardinals, 1 and 4 the Panthers as this goes out. That could be a bit nothingy. And I think it shows a change in fortunes of teams that in the same week that is, when maybe not as interested, Philadelphia go to Dallas. Which now is going to be, should be really exciting. Wentz against Dak Prescott. Absolutely. 2 teams looking really exciting. You think this last season, if we'd had that, you would not have put those games that way round?
Absolutely not. But you know, that's the beauty of the league. That's the beauty of the system that it has, whereby whoever does worse gets to strengthen themselves up
and it's
as
totally,
a priority for next season.
And it's totally worked with the Eagles getting Wentz and the Cowboys being led by Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott.
It's literally played out perfectly. This is a textbook example of why the system works as it is. And like you say, these incredibly exciting games wouldn't have been a thing to bat an eye at last season.
And the final one we've got before our next episode, so we'll be back November, the second week of November, with this episode on YouTube. So the week before that, quite a big one, week 9, division matchup, Broncos go to Oakland. That could be interesting. And one for me where I might have to be careful, the Bills go to Seattle for the first time in years. And neither me or Stuart have been that kind about the Seahawks for a few weeks. So people of Seattle, I really need the Bills to win that one. Or it could be quite awkward.
How can you suck up to Seattle? What does Seattle have? Legalized cannabis, loads of coffee.
Frazier.
They did the $15 an hour minimum wage. They were the first city to do that. They have a socialist councillor who's part of the same socialist international that I am. So there's your link. I'll get Kashama Sawant to tell the Seahawks to throw it.
Good. Then we're all good.
Totally works.
So there is lots to look forward to. Don't forget, please get in touch. You can tell us what you think. We'll put up the links. So if you want to shout at either me or Charles individually, here's our Twitter handle, so you can shout and get us on Facebook.
I'll just block you.
Get in touch. Obviously, if we want to hear some of your views, we've said before, you can email in via the website. Get us on Twitter or Facebook, or record yourself on video, not that type of video, just you talking about the game, obviously, or an audio that you want to send in of your views.
You're giving away rather too much about what these cameras have seen elsewhere.
They really haven't. No. We'd love to hear your views, and maybe we can have you on next episode in the Fanzone. But I think that's it from us.
I'm all good.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.